Hey guys, today we'll be covering a 2019 romance film called Kaguya-sama, Love is War. Miyuki Shirogane is an exemplary high school student who possesses both academic and oratorical skills. He has competed in several contests for his school and has always shown excellent performance. He is hardworking and intelligent, the qualities liked by many. Meanwhile, we meet another girl from his school, Kaguya Shinomiya. She is the daughter of a trillion-dollar businessman who owns practically all of the big Japanese corporations. Kaguya is also very smart and talented in various aspects of life. She has traveled around the world and is familiar with many cultures. She is also super rich and can hardly relate to normal people, but that doesn't stop her from being respectful to everyone. Miyuki and Kaguya come from polar opposite families, but they are similar in many aspects. Their main trait is their pride, which they refuse to keep aside in any situation. They both think that love is a game, and the one who falls first loses. The duo clearly likes each other, but would never in a million years admit it. In fact, they manipulate situations and people to go above and beyond to make the other person confess their feelings in order to avoid confessing their own. This has caused several frictions between them in the past, and it doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon. Their main aim in life is to make each other confess one way or the other. The two go to one of the most prestigious Japanese schools, Shushin Academy. In their junior year of high school, Miyuki is appointed as the student council's president and Kaguya as the vice president. The entire school thinks they are a couple, but the two dismiss all the rumors. Now that they get to spend more time together, they think the other person will find them irresistible. However, a month passes, but no one makes a move, as both are driven by pride. The council's secretary is a cheerful girl named Chika. One morning, she runs into the council office with 2 movie tickets to a romantic film. She wants Miyuki and Kaguya to go, but they are reluctant to ask each other. It is then revealed that Chika getting the free tickets is not a coincidence. In fact, Kaguya went out of her way to find out the exact date when Miyuki will be free. Then, she bought the tickets and created a fake lottery competition to make Chika win. She also made sure that Chika wouldn't be able to go to the movie theater, so she would ask them to have the ticket. In the end, her plan worked flawlessly. Even though it was a lot of work, to Kaguya, it is better than asking Miyuki out on a date herself. When none of them reply, Chika gives the ticket to Kaguya and asks her to use them as she wishes. The plan has backfired now, and Kaguya has to ask Miyuki herself. However, she refuses to do so and thinks of a better idea. She asks Miyuki to play poker with her, and the one who wins gets to ask anything from the loser. Her plan is to deliberately let him win and suggest he ask for the ticket. Then, he will have to go to the movies with her without her asking him out. The game starts and Miyuki wins the first round. But then he realizes Kaguya is happy to lose. On giving it a thought, he registers what she is trying to do, but still wins in the end. However, unlike what Kaguya has assumed, he only asks for a single ticket for himself. That way, he isn't asking her out, but gets to go with her at the same time. After school, Kaguya goes back to her mansion and tells her maids about her plan. They do not want their princess to go to the theater filled with commoners, but are bound by her order. The following day, Kaguya goes over the top to ensure she and Miyuki bump into each other in the theater. She makes her employees spy on him and steer the crowd so they would meet exactly how she wanted. The plan works, but they still refuse to acknowledge that they want to watch the movie together. Kaguya is unused to the seating system and mistakenly chooses a seat far from Miyuki. As a result, all of her hard work amounts to nothing. One day at school, a guy barges into the student council office asking for Miyuki's help. It turns out he is in love with a girl from his class, but doesn't know how to confess it. He thinks Miyuki is a relationship expert and can help him. Miyuki, who has never been with any girl, is afraid people will find out he is a virgin. So, he goes with the rumor and confirms he is a love guru. He helps the guy by asking him to corner the girl and ask her out on a date. With the help of a drone, Kaguya is listening to them talk. She makes fun of the two, knowing that the plan won't work. However, all of them are surprised when the guy does as told, and the girl accepts his advances. Miyuki surprises himself, but is satisfied with the result, while Kaguya loses her mind over it. The following day, she gets sick and doesn't come to school. Chika tells Miyuki that they have to urgently get a paper signed by Kaguya, so one of them has to visit her. He takes the matter into his hands and goes to her mansion. The head maid receives him and brings him to Kaguya's room. She walks out of the bed and starts jumping around, unlike someone who is sick. The maid reveals that she is sleepwalking, which happens often when she takes medicines. After telling Miyuki not to do anything perverted, she leaves. Kaguya invites Miyuki to lie down next to her, which confirms that she is not in her right mind, because she would never show affection otherwise. As Miyuki gets closer, she pulls him into the bed and falls asleep right after. When Kaguya wakes up a while later, she doesn't remember anything that happened earlier. On seeing Miyuki beside her, she assumes the worst and pushes him off the bed. Miyuki explains that nothing happened between them, but Kaguya goes into a frenzy. She calls him a pervert before kicking him out of the house. The following day at school, she tells her best friend about what happened. At the same time, Miyuki pours his thoughts out to his friend. He asks for advice on how to solve a conflict with a girl and is told to apologize as soon as possible. Kaguya is also advised to forgive the person if she wants to have a good relationship with him. In the following scene, the two pass each other in the hallways. Without looking at her face, Miyuki puts his pride aside for the first time and apologizes for lying on her bed. He clarifies that his intentions were pure, but he couldn't help but touch her lips with just one finger. When he turns around, Kaguya places her finger on his lips. She claims that this makes them even and forgives him instantly. The moment of intimacy between the two creates a spark in both their minds. They cannot get the thought of each other out of their heads, even long after the hallway incident. But starting the next day, the summer break begins, and they will be away from each other for more than a month. Both of them dread the time apart, but do not call each other in order to not seem weak. Miyuki forgets to sleep and eat because he misses Kaguya so much. One day, he gives up and goes to school alone. He hopes to find Kaguya inside the council's office, but is left disappointed when no one is around. However, it turns out that she came to the school to look for him right before his arrival. Because of the slight time difference, they aren't able to meet. Then one night, Chika sends a message to a group chat inviting everyone to a firework festival. Both Miyuki and Kaguya are excited, hoping to finally meet each other. On the day of the festival, Kaguya dresses up in a beautiful kimono and is ready to go out. But to her distress, all of her maids barge into her room and stop her. It turns out she is not allowed to go to the festival because of her status. Somewhere else, the rest of the group meet and wander around until the fireworks starts. Miyuki waits for Kaguya for hours, but she never shows up. A while later, Kaguya's head maid comes to the festival and apologizes to him. It turns out that Kaguya's father didn't allow her to be around commoners after her going to the movie became a big deal in the family. The maid also confirms that Kaguya was eagerly waiting to watch the fireworks with them and is very sad currently. At home, Kaguya has made up her mind to go to the festival one way or the other. She uses a rope slide to sneak out of the house and rushes to the festival only to see that it has ended. She cannot help but break down into tears. Suddenly, Miyuki arrives and finds her sobbing on a park bench. The sight makes him weak, and he doesn't think twice before taking her hand and bringing her to see the fireworks from somewhere else. They get in a taxi and drive over a bridge that has the perfect view of the beautiful fireworks. The two share a romantic moment together, but refrain from confessing their feelings even then. In the following scene, the school restarts and Miyuki and Kaguya meet again in the regular setting. Miyuki hopes that she will fall for him this time after what happened on the weekend. However, his expression changes when Kaguya turns around after looking at him. The duo is back to being their normal selves again. It is also their last day in the council office before the New Year's elections take place. They pack their things and say goodbye to the office. Right then, Kaguya feels a sharp pain in her chest and passes out. She is taken to the best doctor in the world, who is also her family's personal doctor. He assumes that she probably has heart disease since her mother died of cardiovascular problems. The news is broadcasted all around the nation, since Kaguya's health is a subject of the nation's concern. Miyuki also watches the doctor's interview in which he claims that the disease might be caused because of stress, which can be relieved by dancing regularly. The comment makes an impression on him. When Kaguya gets well and returns to school, she claims that she wants to run for the president of the student council. Miyuki doesn't like the idea because of the pressure of her being president might not help her heart disease. So, he also runs for the president, hoping to make her lose for her own sake. But because of this, the two become rivals again. Everything goes normally until one day, Kaguya is informed about suspicious activity. It turns out Miyuki has been meeting Chika in a warehouse for the past week. They stay there for an hour before going separate ways. The news breaks Kaguya into pieces and fills her with anger. She asks the maid to continue spying and find out what exactly they do in the warehouse, although she has an idea about it. A few weeks later, the day arrives when the result of the student council nomination is announced. For the last speech, Kaguya gets on the stage and tells everyone about Miyuki and Chika's love affair and their warehouse meetings. She accuses them of committing a shameful act and argues that someone like Miyuki is not fit for the position of president. Miyuki speaks up for himself and reveals that he and Chika are just friends. He has never been indecent with her, and their meetings were purely platonic. They meet to practice a dance routine that Miyuki wanted to teach Kaguya so she wouldn't be stressed. Kaguya thinks this is one of his manipulation tactics and doesn't believe him. After that, Chika takes a stand for herself and insists that Miyuki is telling the truth. He wanted to help with Kaguya's heart disease and nothing else. She plays the music and encourages him to show everyone what he has learned till now. Kaguya finally believes them and feels awful for accusing Miyuki of indecency. She gets on the podium again and tells everyone how good of a person he is. She admits to trying to bring out his bad side several times in the past year, but it turns out he doesn't have one. She also discloses that her heart disease doesn't exist, and the pain in her heart was caused by the rapid pounding that occurred when she was with Miyuki. Miyuki then reveals that he ran for the presidency for Kaguya herself. The two stand in front of the entire school and finally express their love for each other. Miyuki is again elected as the president, and Kaguya is made the vice president. The two are alone in the council office when Miyuki leans in to kiss her. However, they are interrupted by Chika and her friend. But as they talk, the two end up kissing accidentally. The movie ends as they turn away from each other, thinking that they won the war of love.